Hello and welcome to Baffling Cyclops. I'm David.
And I'm Pepper Proxy.
And we're here to dazzle and delight.
Yay! I missed dazzling and delighting last week.
I know. We just didn't do it last week because...
we were exhausted.
We were tired. And logy. And
there was also a little bit of a peanut emergency because Costco didn't have any peanuts.
It's true. And we ended up going to Carpentino Brothers way south of Seattle just to pick up a 25-pound mesh sack of nuts.
And they were not fit for human consumption, and the crows let us know.
Yeah, they were not as happy, not as pleased. There were definitely more turn downs where they pick through the nuts and look for a good one, and they sometimes would just leave them behind.
They just left them for the blues.
It's true.
They turned their beaks up at it.
The blues ate well.
Yes.
On non-human consumable nuts. But thankfully, human consumable nuts are back, the roasted ones, and they're much happier now.
And I gave them a new nickname.
What's that?
Roasties.
Roasties.
I think roasties are actually like roasted potatoes, like in the UK. Mm-hmm. But in our household, that's what we're going to call the roasted peanuts.
Okay.
Human consumption.
Human consumption peanuts.
I do want to talk about something really fast because I think since the last time we did a podcast, or maybe just like a week or two before that, you signed me up for TikTok.
I did.
And I've been kind of enjoying it.
Yeah. My take on it was, I first asked you, has the algorithm picked out things specifically for you? And you said no, it hasn't. And then I woke up and you were watching TikToks in bed while I was sleeping, and I looked over and there was a woman going through our house with a black light looking for stuff, and I was like, "Oh, it figured Pepper out."
Well, it did. It's interesting because I think that it originally, for maybe the first 4 days that I watched TikTok, it thought that I was an African American, maybe middle-aged mom of younger kids. And I really enjoyed that, and I really like that content. So maybe because I just like some of the funny kids. And then I finally was able to get into unlock the mystery of like the cooking things.
Right.
So once I was able to have the kid content with the cooking content and then some funny stuff, it's been enjoyable.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I think you introduced me to a TikTok of a frenzy at a TJ Maxx.
Right.
And, my sister Diana gave us a gift card this Christmas,
Correct,
which was
yes.
just so generous and sweet. And TJ Maxx is like a discount store. They have 3 different stores under their umbrella. It's TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. And a lot of this stuff a percentage of the stuff is jobbed out, which means it's product that was originally manufactured for sale for maybe more premium locations. Some of the product is manufactured for discounting. And then some of the stuff is just manufactured, I think, exclusively for TJX.
And their whole point and purpose and view is they're a treasure hunting company.
Total treasure hunting, which means merchandising, like my area of expertise, is pretty non-existent in those stores.
And in a regular store, if you were going to sell, for example, a specific kind of chocolate, you might buy an inner box of 8 to put on the shelf because you're doing it. And at TJ Maxx, there might only be 1.
Well, I think what they do is I think they have a magical allocation system. So I don't know this because I don't know anybody who works for the company, but I would guess they do buy those larger inner shipping things and those boxes, but then their allocation is just like it's made to feel very random
Right.
and rare, but it's not really. So whoever is in charge of allocation, I don't know if it's
They do a great job.
planning and allocation, or I would say planning and allocation, because I think they're doing well as far as
Sure.
financially. But allocation for sure, they do a phenomenal job.
And I think one of the things that they're trying to do is give you the feeling of a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, but with new product. So you go in and you
treasure
don't,
hunt, yeah.
you don't know what you're
Yeah.
going to find. But with some of the good parts of retail shopping, whereas they might have multiple sizes of the same item, like if they might have shoes or whatever. So it has some benefits over it.
Yeah, for sure.
And return policy and all of
Yeah,
that kind of stuff too.
yeah.
But you don't know, if you go in and they have bee towels one time.
I should have got. Why didn't I buy those bee towels?
I know you start to develop FOMO about TJ Maxx because you're like, I need to buy it because it's not going to be here the next time.
So we don't go very often, but those bee towels. So, I do like bees, but I'm not really into kitsch stuff. But we did see some bee towels there, and they were like marked down too. They were super cheap. Guess what? I've gone on eBay to find those bee towels. They're selling for like hundreds of flippin' dollars. And not just listed for that amount, but selling for that amount.
Which leads
so I did
you
more research.
which leads you into your topic, right?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about retail arbitrage, which is because I do some reselling, and usually it's like some really cool vintage stuff, some apparel at markets, which I don't do anymore because the coronavirus, and also some online on Poshmark and Etsy. I had an Etsy home shop, but. So I've done a little bit of research in retail arbitrage, which is when people seek out, they go to retailers. So it's not just like Nordstrom Rack and TJ Maxx. A lot of people do that, but they also go to retailers like Anthropologie, Nordstrom, where they buy things that have been way marked down. It's a full-time job. People make well into the mid six figures doing this. But it's like more than a full-time job.
Yeah, and
it's a risk.
The idea is like at an individual store, there might not be someone who wants an extra small poodle sweater.
Yes.
But there's an extra small person looking for that poodle sweater somewhere else. So the arbitrage is you buy the stuff and then match it to that long tail customer that's looking for just what you specifically have.
And the super successful retail arbitrage sellers sell the product for more than the original retail price because it's a high demand product.
Right.
Which leads me to this TikTok video you sent me of a frenzy. It was either at a Home Goods or at a TJ Maxx of people just storming the castle looking for a type of pottery called Rae Dunn.
Right. And the person who posted the video said he or she had been warned.
They were an employee at TJ Maxx.
And I sent it to you because I know you're fascinated with the retail arbitrage and anything where people are lining up outside the store. And then as soon as the doors open and they all run into the display to pick and through and just pick everything up off the shelves. And basically in the video, they're buying things almost at random. It seemed like whatever they could get their hands on, they were going to buy.
Yeah.
Whether or not they wanted it or not.
So I was fascinated by that.
Right.
And so I did a little bit of research and come to find out Vice just put out, Vice Online.
Oh, really?
Just did an article 5 days ago. And I think it was because of that TikTok video.
TikTok video went viral.
So what's happening is there are people that do resell. Mm-hmm. And they are selling for significantly more than what they pay for it. But then there's also a huge group of collectors. And these people go, and I'm not judging them because I haven't been, I know,
We know what the collecting bug is like.
I just placed an order for some 8.5 yards of Mary Mecco vintage fabric from 1967 that should be coming this week.
Oh.
And I don't have a plan for what I'm going to do with it. But so I'm not judging. So there is a huge amount of collectors of this Rae Dunn. They go every single day. It's become almost like a social thing.
So they gather outside the store every day.
Every day.
Go in just to see if there's new Rae Dunn stuff?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. It's it becomes an obsession. And then a couple of, there are a couple of women and men too, that are like, they were spending thousands of dollars that they don't have on this Rae Dunn stuff. And so I was like, well,
no, this was just to have, not to resell, right?
To have.
Right.
Yeah, to have.
Okay.
Because I think if you're reselling, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we just went to Home Goods this weekend because of that gift card. And I was tickled. I was like, oh my gosh, here in Seattle, they have that Rae Dunn stuff.
Yes.
And maybe I should buy some of it because I think I could resell it. But I also learned that you can download a barcode scanner. And there are some people that go to those retailers every day and scan all the new product that has come in. If they can sell it for more than what they pay, they buy it. And they list it right then
in the store.
In the store or in the parking lot.
Wow.
And they have a whole system down.
And could you describe the Rae Dunn stuff just a little bit?
So it's very much like live, laugh, love kind of thing, but a little bit more sophisticated, in my opinion. It's pottery, and a lot of it has like words on it.
Yeah.
It's just like almost like a chalk white color, but shiny.
And then it says like Queen Bee or Mama Bear and things like that on it. Because I went with you to the home store to look at it, and I did see it while we were there. Yeah. And I could understand the attraction to it. I mean, obviously not for me, but I understand like why somebody might want it because there's so much of it too.
Yeah, and I think as a collection, it sits well together.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I found some of it because I'm on a search for plates. I found some and I didn't know what it was at the Goodwill. I found it at the Goodwill and so I love Molly Hatch and Molly Hatch Ceramics. We have some of her stuff. And so it kind of reminded me when I found it, I was like, oh wow, this kind of feels a little bit like Molly Hatch as far as the design. But I didn't love the fact that it had a stamp of like a fork and a knife, like miniature, very small scale on this like white, irregular shaped kind of.
And now organic. You feel like you should have bought it.
Maybe.
To resell.
Maybe. But I'm like, this feels good. The weight feels good. I like the design element. I just didn't like the image of the little fork, the little knife, the little spoon. Super cute, but I would have liked it if it was plain. Right. So I did a little bit more research, and Rae Dunn is a real person from the Bay Area. Okay. And her personal aesthetic, I'll show you a picture, seems so different than her collection of Rae Dunn.
Interesting.
It's really fascinating.
So this is something that as Goodwill and Salvation Army reopen, I mean, they are open, but as you feel more comfortable going there, you can keep your eye open for this too, because I'm sure some of it that shows up there is going to be like super collectible.
Well, I did a reverse search to see what things, so that's how I like find stuff if I should sell it or not. I go to the sold tab, not what's listed. And then I do it from high to low to see what's selling. So there are just a couple of things that if I see it,
you would buy it.
Absolutely will buy it. But I think that maybe because there are so many people who are so passionate about it, I might just leave it for the person who loves Rae Dunn.
Okay.
But I just was so fascinated by the whole thing, and there are tons of articles now.
Yeah, it's interesting when you find like a whole subculture like that you didn't know existed. Yeah. Then poof, all of a sudden it's a big deal. And
Yeah.
it's all over the place and everybody knows about it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Rae Dunn. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you this picture
Okay.
of her
Yeah.
in her studio, which kind of feels very different than
I don't know. It's pretty simple. It's all simple stuff. Like I can see, like, and she has, she's wearing a T-shirt that has the font that she uses for everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. And it's a whole series of things. It's not just ceramics. She does bedding, all kinds of other.
They had a ton of stuff at our Home Goods.
Stuff at Home Goods. Yeah.
But maybe we can even put the video of the people like in a frenzy. And it might not be a Seattle thing either.
Right. It might be that there's nobody showing up every day at Home Goods to look at Rae Dunn stuff.
It seems very, it feels like a little bit more Southern maybe, or a modern farmhouse. Maybe a little bit more Midwestern. But yeah, I just thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to mention, too, our new neighbors across the street put a porch crotch out. Which, now...
Oh my gosh, it tickles. They have a plant on top of the porch crotch.
No, they have a frog on top of the porch crotch.
Oh, it's a frog. Sorry, yeah.
Porch crotch. So it's the midsection of a mannequin, so the legs are unscrewed. And
I can tell you what it is. It's either for underwear or bathing suit bottoms. There were never legs to begin with on that lower torso.
And so right above the belly button, there's a flat surface with a giant frog on it. And I think Henry and Dee don't like the porch crotch.
Well, I know for sure Dee doesn't because we talked with her about it. But I have to say, I met the neighbors.
They seem really nice.
They seem like lovely young women. And can you sneak a picture of porch crotch?
Of course, I'll put a picture of porch crotch in the. It's visible from the street, so I don't feel too creepy. Although taking a picture of it. Although now that there's two 20-year-old women there, I don't want to take a picture of their window or anything.
No, maybe I should do it. It's hard. That's hard to say, porch crotch.
It is. That's kind of why I like the phrase. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I had a topic I was going to talk about this week.
Yay!
Which, that I like magic and magicians. And it's something that, I've liked since I was very little.
Yes.
When I was in the second grade, we had to do a report on a famous person and read a biography. And I read a Houdini biography. And then we had to come into school in costume and give an oral report with questions.
I wish I had a picture of baby Houdini Davy.
Right, which was basically a black cape and chains around my hands, and I could break out of the chains.
Cute.
And I read the adult
quote unquote. Of course you did.
Houdini biography, so I had tons of information, and I'm sure I was extraordinarily irritating to everyone with the amount of Houdini information.
No, I would think it was endearing.
But I was Houdini obsessed. And I've continued to kind of like magic throughout my life, but not to the point of obsession that I did when I was very young. And when I started working at Archie McPhee, I pitched a Houdini action figure, and we ended up making the Houdini action figure.
Too.
Yeah, it's a cool action figure. I don't actually have one. The only one that I kept was a Houdini action figure package that came in with no action figure in it. So he escaped the package. So I liked that one more than him doing like a straitjacket escape, because it came with a straitjacket.
Yeah.
It might be the only action figure that came with a removable straitjacket. I'm sure there's some action figure that has a straitjacket.
I bet you there's a Hannibal Lecter with the mask and the straitjacket, but I don't think it's removable.
It should come as no surprise to anyone that I sometimes look at the Houdini blog.
Uh-huh.
And there's an interesting thing going on in the Houdini blog, which I thought might fascinate you, which is about a year ago, this couple of magicians say that they found Houdini's real water torture cell.
Oh, this is great.
So
This is great. What a magic trick.
David Copperfield owns the real water torture cell. He paid $150,000 for it. Now, people don't like David Copperfield for a lot of very good reasons to not like him.
We don't have to talk about that.
No, but I'm just saying, and I know someone who refers to him as David Copperknob. Thing to know for this story is there are two. This is another. It kind of draws into yours with the collecting side of things. There's a good side to collecting and a bad side to collecting. And,
as we both know.
And so David Copperfield has spent all his money amassing probably the biggest magic collection in the world. He owns everything.
Which is really cool if he opened it up for, like, had a museum.
Right. But at the same time, that means other people don't have.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who collect magic stuff, and they're kind of used to, for the big items, David Copperfield having everything.
He's greedy.
Well, yes. And he wants it all. And he has...
Does he have any Doug Henning stuff?
I'm sure he does.
The rainbow suspenders?
I don't know. But so when this cell came up, and it was from the Niagara Falls Museum, they said that there was a cell, theoretically the cell was in that museum, but they're saying that that cell was a fake. And they had, at some point, there was a cell in the museum, and then it got put in storage, and when it got taken out of storage, it was fake, and they have the real one.
Okay, so if David Copperfield knows about this, he's probably got his panties in a bunch.
Oh, sure. He's got straitjacket panties. They're
yeah, that hurts.
Binding.
Like it's one little binder up your crack.
Yeah. So
not that I know from experience.
But he may be interested in it, but the magic community is debating whether or not this is an actual water torture cell or not. And when I say water torture cell, this is the kind of wood and glass booth where he would hang upside down with his ankles through two holes in the top of the cell. They would put a curtain up, and then he would escape from it. And you and I actually have seen Penn and Teller do their version of the trick, which I love, because in their version, Teller dies. Mm-hmm. And when we saw it, he actually stayed in the cell during the intermission of the show until they wheeled it off, which is hilarious. And then he came back out with no explanation, alive for the next act.
And
dry, which is awesome. Yeah, theirs is so funny. And Houdini's water torture cell escape was actually dangerous. Like, he broke his ankle doing it because there's a lot. I mean, you're in shackles upside down.
Didn't he hurt his liver or something doing it?
He had so many injuries, but this was one of those things where it was just a crazy thing. And about a year ago, they initially posted about the cell and posted a few pictures, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, maybe it's that." So then this month they posted more detailed pictures, and at this point, in my opinion.
Okay.
In David's opinion, it's so obvious that it's fake. It's crazy that other people are taking it seriously.
Oh, that tickles me.
And part of the reason...
It's a magic trick.
Magicians...
It's meta.
Magicians have a relationship with the truth because most of them change their name and they lie about what they've accomplished. Yeah. And it's kind of an accepted part of being a magician that you would say... I've performed for 8 crowned princes of Europe and blah, 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 all of that stuff. So it's really interesting to me that they're trying to present this as real. And at first you're like, whatever, it's not that big a deal. But they have a couple tells. I don't know anything about the physical part of the cell, whether it's real or not. Because a lot of people are comparing it to old pictures.
They're trying to do carbon dating.
Oh, that came up in the comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
DNA testing?
And someone pointed out carbon dating is not specific enough.
No. When I said it was a joke.
I understand. Yeah, but someone did suggest it. And someone's like, no, carbon dating would not work for this particular object.
A couple centuries.
So, but they've compared the wood grain to the old wood grain and where bolts are, and, all kinds of complicated stuff. And there's some differences, but also some things were taken off, and
the evolution of the trick.
Right. So the reason I think it's not true are two stories that they told about it. One is, so they've had it for a year now, and then they said in the description that the people that have it said that they were cleaning the glass on the inside one day and the Windex bottle fell, and the back of the booth like shook, and they're like, wait, there must be something here. And they fiddled around with it and found the metal tube that Houdini used to breathe. And that is such a overly detailed story for what it is.
The more detailed, the more likely it's not true.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think also people are so into this story that they love the detail. So the people in the comment section are eating it with a silver spoon. And the other thing is, while they were disassembling one of the locks, they found a coin from 1909.
Oh my God!
That was used as a shimmy. I don't even know what a shimmy is.
I do. It's a shim. It like you use it for like windows, and when you're doing woodwork, it's like a little wedge.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what British coin it was because I couldn't tell from the picture. But my guess is in 1909, whatever coin it was, a shimmy would have been cheaper than whatever the coin was.
Yeah. Right.
And why?
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would use a coin, but of course it's from the year before it was supposed to have been built.
Right.
And I love that kind of thing because it's we found this coin in there, so it must be true. And
I love these guys, whoever they are, it's like it is a trick. It's a magic trick that they're doing right now.
Right. And the more hype they can get for the fraud, even if it's revealed to be a complete fraud, what they made still has value.
It absolutely does, and is irritating David Copperfield, which I love too.
Right, exactly. So two things. It's irritating David Copperfield, and it's making value for the object in a weird way. So, and since David Copperfield paid $150,000 for it, they're like, I'm guessing they're eventually going to say like, well, we don't know if it's real or not. Like, here's the evidence, but we'll sell it for $75,000 or $100,000.
Hoping that he might buy it.
I think that might be what's going on, and I think
good for them.
But I think the reason David Copperfield might buy it is to prove that it's not real. Yeah, and then sue them.
Oh my goodness! Well, they could put some qualifiers in their eBay listing that protects them from being sued.
This is my guess though for the next step in their reveal is they're going to find a secret compartment that has a diary of the man that built the water cell in it with an entry that's like, and now on July 7th, 1911, I locked this diary in here, having built it with great pride. Clunk.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I love that kind of detail-y stuff where it was like as soon as I saw the coin wedged in the thing, I was like, oh, this is so fake. Yeah. This is so fake. And I think part of the reason for that, too, is a lot of those TikTok people have been finding fake basements and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And they always put like an old magazine or a newspaper in there to be like, look, it's from 1963. No one's been in here.
You were telling me one that was so funny, where they said they found a hidden room in their cellar.
Well, they found this. They didn't know they had a basement, and then they showed the basement, and that's where the hot water tank and the electrical fuse box is.
Like super modern, yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess it's possible. I guess
Your home inspector would have been able to find that for you. But
I'm guessing it's possible that they've never been in there before, having lived in the house. But I kind of doubt that no one's been in there for very long. But that was my little nugget for the week, was the water torture cell escape. So I'll try and sneak over and take a picture of the porch crotch.
Okay, be careful though. I don't want. We already have a neighbor that's like got her eyeballs on us, so I, I don't want to get like labeled like the porch crotch sneakers.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. And to read our show notes, sign up for our newsletter at bafflingcyclops.com.